Hello everyone and welcome to this new video of Python tutorials for beginners series. In this video we will be covering variables and data types in Python. So as you can see, I have already opened up my Visual Studio Code app, and if you haven't already, you can open it up writing VS Code. And if you don't see VS Code installed in your computer, you can check out the previous video we have on this series, and in that video we have covered installing Visual Studio Code and Python as well. So we have it installed, and also in the previous video we have talked about opening up the folder in VS Code, and we will open up our folder. And basically in this folder we will be working and creating our files and writing our code. So I already have a folder created. So you can just create a folder and select that. Okay, now we are inside that folder, and whenever we create a file or a folder here, they will all be inside that folder we've selected. So in order to write our code, let's create our Python file, and let's call it variables.py. Okay, great. Variables are one of the most fundamental topics in almost any of the programming languages, and it's the same way in Python too. So if you want to learn more about Python, you really have to understand how variables and how data types work. So that's why I highly suggest you to watch till the end of this video, and whenever you have questions or don't understand anything in the video, please write down in the comments so that I can help you with it. So let's get started with the variables, and let me zoom in a little bit. Creating a variable in Python is actually very easy. You just have to select a variable name, and for this case, let's say it's var, and you have to type an equal sign and give whatever value you want to give. Let's say 5. So now we have created a variable. But of course, there are different data types you can assign to a variable. And let's just examine them a little bit. So as we have already seen, integers like 5 was, for example, an integer. Like 5. So a 0 is an integer as well. -2, -4, sorry, or -15. These are all integers. Also, there are floats. So floats are numbers as well, but they have decimal points. So let's say 5.2, or let's say 0.6, or -4.6. These are all floats, meaning they have a decimal point after the actual integer. So there are also strings, and they are basically text. So any text you can imagine, for example, test or sample text. These are all strings, or it can be any character as well. So let's say A. This is a string as well in Python, or these can also be inside double quotes. So ABC. This is also a string. So in Python, double quote or a single quote doesn't really matter. Also, there are Boolean values. You may have heard these from true and false values as well. And in Python, these are written in a capitalized form. So as you can see, the F and the T is capitalized, and if you write true as this way, it would be accepted as a Boolean value. So let's just do an example and print the type of a variable, and printing the type is actually very easy. So we just have to do type function, and we can enter, let's say, 5. So as we have already said, 5 is an integer, and once we execute the code, we will actually see the answer int here. So actually I should probably have written these. Integers Python notation is int, floats means float in Python again, and strings are str, and booleans are bool in Python. So these are basically the short notations in Python that are used as their names. So just to make sure you have understood everything, I will make a small quiz and you can try to guess the output. Okay, here's the code that will print types of each of these variables into the output. So you can just pause the video now and guess the output, or write your answers in the comments below. I'll give you a few seconds and then I will run the code. Okay. So as we can see, the first one was float, the second one was string, the third one was boolean, and fourth one was an integer. So if you guess that way, Congratulations, you have probably understood the main differences between some of the most basic variables in Python. Now we are ready to learn more about variables and how they're used in Python. So let's just make a quick example and let's just create a variable called num1. And as you can remember, we can create a variable with any name we want. So num1 is the variable name, and let's just assign it an integer value 4. By declaring the variable named num1, we assign it the value 4. And right now in our program, whenever we try to use the variable named num1, we will always encounter the value 4. So let's just print num1 and see whatever gets printed in this screen. So as you can see, the output is 4. This is because we've assigned 4 into our num1 variable. And so if we create a variable named num2 and assign it the integer value 9, this num2 variable will always have the value 9 as long as it's not changed. And so if we try to print num1 plus num2, you might already be guessing this, but as num1 stores the value 4 and num2 stores the value 9, the output will be equal to 13. And right now, as you can see, the output is 13. And here we could have just done 4 plus 9 instead of using variables as well. And this would work just like the previous example and it would output 13. But in most of the cases, using variables will make coding much easier. Since we might be using a value in our program more than once, we might just store this value into a variable and use that variable instead. And once we change the value of that variable once at the top of our program or wherever it is, from that point on, all of the values will be changed as we like. So instead of changing each of the values one by one, we will just change the value of the variable, and as that variable was used all along the program, all the values in the program will be changed as well. And that's why variables are very useful and very commonly used in programming. If you understood the main differences between these data types and how variables store these data types in Python, then you're probably ready to learn much more in Python. In our next video of this series, we will be covering user inputs and working with strings in Python. In order to get notified about that video, you can subscribe and turn on the bell notifications. And please don't forget to like the video if this video was useful for you, or you can share it with your friends as well so that they can learn it as well. Thank you for watching till the end of the video, and see you.